Hello everybody, today I'm wearing a pretty neat watch. This is the Islander Northport. If you guys know about my channel, then you probably know about Mark's channel from Long Island Watch. This is one of his own designs that he co-created with Ryan, one of his business partners, who pretty much spearheaded the entire design for this watch. And spoiler alert, it blew all of my expectations. For its price point of under $500, I was expecting something along the lines, quality-wise, of maybe Citizen or an older Seiko model, but this feels a lot higher quality than that. If you're watching this video, you're probably a watch nerd like me, and that's okay, because I am too. But I think it's always kind of cool if a non-watch nerd notices a watch. I think that's probably a good sign. As soon as I opened this box up, my wife was like, whoa, what is that? That's a cool watch. And I think that's a good sign. And since then, over the past week, I've been wearing this watch to work, and I've been gotten a lot of compliments on this watch as well. Something that usually doesn't happen, even when I'm wearing like my Rolex or my Omega. I think that's pretty cool, and that's probably a testament to this watch being well done. No doubt what attracted everybody in was the amazing colors used. This model is named the Seafoam Green, but you can see at the bottom, it starts at a white and it goes into that color. And it's just absolutely amazing on wrist. I have been blessed with having a lot of watches for hands-on reviews lately, and this definitely has to be my favorite dial out of all the watches I've had my hands on recently, including watches that are about 4 times the price. The dial itself is textured to look like the ripples within water. And the way the color shifts, it literally looks like you're standing at the beach, exactly where the water breaks onto the beach from the ocean. The pictures and the videos, including this one, just don't do this watch justice. It's much like a Grand Seiko dial. You really need to see it in person to truly appreciate it. Now, I'm not saying that this watch is done at the same level as a $10,000 Grand Seiko, but I do guarantee that it's done better than you probably are thinking it is. The bezel continues the colorful scheme as it's green on top and white at the bottom, and it kind of just brings everything all together. It is a flat sapphire bezel, and it's done really well. The bezel print kind of seems to be floating on the bezel over the colors, which I think is a really cool look. The bezel action itself is also very impressive, with absolutely no backplay. It's very nice and tight, requiring a little bit of oomph to actually get it moving, which is probably a good thing because it ensures that you're not going to be accidentally moving this bezel when you don't want to, like some watches that are at this price point of under $500. This watch is perfectly sized, at least for my wrist, at 40.5 millimeters wide and is just 12 millimeters thick. That's giving it the same exact dimensions as a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 41 or a Rolex Datejust. This is an extremely comfortable watch on wrist, and I think some of that is due to the Jubilee style bracelet. The bracelet is very well done. It has solid end links. It's silky smooth. It's not sharp like some other Jubilees at this price point. The clasp is completely milled with a twin button release, and it has 6 micro adjustment points. You're going to be able to get the perfect fit with this watch. I'm impressed. This bracelet is easily done better than a lot of $1,000 watches I have had my hands on as well. For example, my Tissot PRX, which costs more than this watch and is from a more well-known or at least established Swiss brand, has push pins that you have to hammer out, while this watch comes equipped with screw-in pins. The bracelet is completely brushed, and it's done really well. The case is brushed too. I think tool watches should always be brushed because you're not going to be seeing dings as much as if they're polished, so you can truly use this watch like it's intended. And it's more subtle, so it plays off well with the flashy bezel and the dial colors. I really like that this is a modern looking dive watch in every aspect, but it doesn't have crown guards, so it's kind of more in tune with the vintage diver as well. It's a cool overall look, and it separates this watch from a lot of its competition. So many of these smaller independent brands these days are just clones of a Rolex Submariner. They slap their logo on a Submariner clone and they call it a day. But here we have something that is totally unique and it's very well executed. So I think that in itself deserves a little bit of applause. The indices in the hands really surprised me as well. They are all applied, polished, size great, are well proportioned, and they're filled with Swiss Superluminova. They look very high quality for the price point, and they are honestly not that far off from the markers on my Rolex Oyster Perpetual. I do want to, stop comparing this watch to my Rolex or the Datejust, but it's so well proportioned, just like those watches, and I'm used to having that watch on wrist, so that is kind of what I feel like when this watch is on wrist. Either way, they definitely look higher end than the price point suggests. Great lume on these too. The white on the bezel is actually lumed as well, so when you have this watch in a low light situation, it's a pretty cool and unique look. The 6 o'clock framed date window also helps a lot to keep the symmetry of this dial, and it blends in nicely to the rest of the indices. This was a great move. I think that a 3 o'clock date window kind of would have ruined this dial for me. 6 is a great choice because it's there when you need it and it's gone when you don't, and having it framed just gives it that extra little touch to make it look more high end. You can see down by the printing at the date, this watch does have a full 200 meters of water resistance, which is going to be more than enough for any real world activity. This watch is running a Miyota 9015, which is a high beat movement. So if you think the second hand looks extra smooth, you're right. Seeing the polished second hand sweep by the rippled multicolored dial and the polished indices really is something. Overall, I'm very impressed with this watch. On my channel, I always try to keep things unbiased and speak my true thoughts. I always try to cover the pros and cons of a watch. There's not a lot of brands I straight don't like, but when there is, I tell you guys about it. And I honestly can't find anything wrong with this watch that I don't like. And I'm just gonna tell you guys this. If you're considering picking up a Northport, do it. This watch is a lot of watch for the money, and however good you're thinking this watch probably is, I'll tell you that you're underestimating it. From the proportions of the case to the texture on the dial to the comfortable brushed bracelet with the screw-in links, a high beat movement, it has all of the hallmarks of a much more expensive watch, barring the name on the dial. I was lent in this timepiece by the team at Long Island Watch, so I have to send it back, but I am seriously considering picking up one for myself. Big thanks to these guys at Long Island for lending this in. This video wouldn't have happened without you. I'm going to be linking the website down in the video description below. I'll also link Mark's YouTube channel in case you haven't seen it. On the website, they sell a bunch of different Islander watches, but definitely check out the Northport guys. They sell some other cool brands as well, like Laco, Squale, Formax, which you guys know I am a big fan of. If you haven't seen my review of the Reef GMT, I did 3 pretty cool videos on that where I start in Alaska, end up in Hawaii. So go ahead and check that out. They have this watch in a few other colors as well. If this one's a little too loud or flashy for you guys, some of the colors are a little bit tamer, but I think this is definitely the one to pick up. What a cool, just fun summer watch. And I'm here in Alaska, so even in the winter months, instead of the beach, this watch could remind me a lot about the glaciers and the ice. So I think that's pretty neat. But anyway, guys, that's everything I got for you today. Please hit the subscription button down below. Check the notification box. It helps the channel out a lot, and it's what allows me to get my hands on watches like this and keep filming content for you guys. But thank you so much. I'll catch you guys on the next one.